been a part of multiple fan bases in my life, and basing my experience from most of them, they all follow a similar pattern. They're all weird. Fandoms have a tendency to make themselves look like the scum of the earth, and sometimes I question what goes on in their minds when they think about this sort of thing. The only plausible explanation could be that fandoms are either full of children, specifically teenage fangirls, and let's just call them the internet weirdos. The biggest problems about fandoms is that they're the reason why certain franchises have such a terrible reputation, because the people that enjoy their creations are full of internet weirdos. Like, take My Hero Academia for example. I know nothing about that anime, other than the fact that their fandom is awfully toxic. This is the reason why fandoms give things a bad reputation, especially when you're an outsider. Typically, imagine yourself getting invested in a new show, and you want to get invested with other people who know that show longer than you have. But if those groups of people present themselves poorly, it'll drag outsiders away from wanting to enjoy something. What sucks is that I guarantee that there are certainly lots of people that just generally like watching it and don't get too amped up about the development and design of characters. But usually those people are never seen. So from that, the poor representation is what made me stay away from every fandom. I haven't been deeply involved in a fandom in years. But the main question I need to cover: why exactly are fandoms so toxic? What are we even fighting over? Well, let's start off with a general idea of real life. I can only hope that people are respectful of each other's boundaries. If a person feels uncomfortable, that's being invasive. Some may be fine with it, others may not. People seek certain characteristics of a partner, which is a lot more difficult to find in real life because finding the one requires vulnerability and actual discipline. Unlike in fiction, everything is pure fantasy. This allows people to fantasize about certain thoughts without the worry of crossing someone's boundaries. People can idealize the traits of characters and can turn it into something they like. I hear people in fandom say this all the time. They're just fictional characters, it's not hurting anyone, but who it does hurt is people who have a different preference of the same character. There's a reason why people have crushes on fictional characters. They like the physical traits of that character, and there's no boundaries to set because they're not real. So in other words, people can get as weird as they want with the characters because they're not real, but people who like something different about the same person causes conflict, and it eventually turns into a really big deal. The main cause of this is that people have differing opinions over things, and if they see something different in your comfort character, they're not going to leave you alone. So I'd say the characters play a huge factor when it comes to the toxicity of a fandom. But where else does it go from here? People like to headcanon the aspects of characters. They also like to romanticize characters too. Us nowadays enjoy seeing the happiness of two people in a relationship. And again, since there's no boundaries to set across in fictional characters, fandoms do this thing that is called shipping. Shipping is one of the biggest parts of a fandom, and I can shamefully say that I was one of them too. It's okay, we can unanimously cringe at 13-year-old me. Generally, it's pretty normal to appreciate the joyous perspective of two people in love, right? But fandoms praise shipping and look at it like it revolves around the earth. What makes shipping so toxic is that people will go beyond the limits of the franchise. There's a difference between fanon and canon, but some may not see the lines differentiating the two. There's two types of people that create this conflict. Either A, you create the idea of two characters in love, although they're not actually in love, but it is vaguely insinuated and they have great chemistry and moments together. Or B, you believe it's wrong to pair two characters because they don't show any form of romantic affection towards one another, and you believe that it is a way to ruin the characters. Again, the line that separates the two opinions over this idea is not realizing the difference between canon and fanon, or possibly person A and B prefer the same character to be paired with someone else. Certain people within a fandom take a ship they don't like as a personal attack towards those that like it, and become very vicious about it. It's a scary fandom you're in if none of them are free for the shipping. Another thing about shipping that causes conflict is how people are able to create pairings out of almost nothing. I've seen this happen within two fandoms. Both examples basically represent that one shipping in a fandom that is very popular, although there was almost no evidence that those two characters even liked each other, or even knew each other. In one fandom, a very popular ship emerged from a single episode, with one of the characters involved in the pairing being a one-time character. Doing some research, apparently that is called an ensemble dark horse. That means when a character with a minor role, or possibly a one-time role, becomes beloved within the fandom. So that one-time character became shipped with one of the main characters, because the two of them appeared in the same scene, and they're both close in age. Looking at their interactions canonically, there was absolutely no evidence that the two of them liked each other, and they never implicitly talked to each other once. Yet the fandom took this ship and it skyrocketed. I was involved in this pairing since it was new. It was very popular back in the day, and of course, the normal people within the fandom were against it for obvious reasons. Now, for the second fandom, a very popular ship emerged from one singular scene. Unlike the first fandom, the two characters were main characters, but they had very little interactions with each other throughout. Yet, the first scene of them together caused an entire pairing to become born, and it was very popular, and it still stayed standing when one of them got a canon love interest. Of course, the normal people of the fandom are against the pairing because they did not have strong enough evidence to prove they're in love with each other. I still cannot believe how people go to great lengths just to pair two individuals together. Imagine how that would be if that happened in real life. As if relationships are so rare nowadays, friendships would be rare because people will put two characters in love because of anything. Now, the last part about a fandom that causes conflict comes from fan work, fan fiction and fan art specifically. They can range from really well done to questioning if this person was forced to create something so odd. I'm not here to judge others for their preferences, but we can still agree that the weird things you make of the characters is what tarnishes their actual image. I'd say that when a fandom becomes very popular, it starts to attract the internet weirdos, and they'll go crazy with them, and they'll start drawing very questionable art. Again, I'm not here to judge, but that doesn't mean it's okay. I think if you're really curious about searching up this type of thing, use incognito mode. Fanfiction, on the other hand, is different, but based on my experience, fanfiction is just depressing. It's so rare for me to find a really well-written fanfic. Most fanfics I've read were either terrible or unfinished, and most fanfictions I've read feel exactly the same. The same generic plot of two characters falling in love and a very intimate scene. I guess I've now realized how much I don't like romance novels. Unlike this one I read a few years ago, I spent hours reading it, which was actually really interesting. I read it because it was finished, unlike most others that were never finished. After hours of reading it, I got to the end. Apparently there was a sequel to it, and guess what? It was unfinished. So, I didn't even bother reading the sequel because I was so upset that there's still so much to the story that I wanted to get involved in, but never will. It was depressing. And then on, I stopped reading fanfiction as a whole, because I'm done being upset. Thanks, fandom, really cool. I really wish fandoms were not as visible as they should be. This is the reason why people drift apart from shows. That includes me, and I can tell you, involving myself less with the fandom has actually made me enjoy things better. I always thought sharing my enthusiasm about something would be fun, but it turns out it's not. Or maybe people should learn to get out of their fantasy bubble.